Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of D313XP, episode 26. We have a special guest on, but I want to start it off with having with myself, Steve, the New Breed 313 Sports. Got my man Nomus J in the building. What's up, Nomus?
What's going on, everybody? What's going on, Bree?
Yes, sir.
What's
Can you
going
hear me?
on, man? Celebration. Yeah, I can hear you. I got you. Hey, what's going on, man? I hope everybody ready for a great show today. Uh, Larry Bree.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we got a we got a very special guest in the building. I'm very excited. This man is a national champion. This man has played in the NFL. He has a lot of accomplishments. He has his own podcast, and I just want to give a special welcome to Michigan legend, national champion, Mr. Chris Howard in the building. How you doing, Mr. Chris Howard?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good, man. But I don't know about legend, man. I'm sure when your audience hear legend, they're gonna be like, man, they got Tyrone Wheatley on there. They got Tim Young.
Nah, yeah,
Nah,
Chris
nah,
Howard.
Oh
nah,
no,
man.
no, they know a legend when they see one.
Yeah, man. Nah, I appreciate the intro, man, and I thank you guys for
Yes,
having me
sir.
on, man. It's an honor.
yes. No problem, man. We appreciate you coming on for us. So, Bree, do you want to do the
Yes,
honors?
sir.
Well, I guess
Yes,
for
yes,
those who
sir.
don't, I'll just ask them. Mr. Howard, you for a quick second for the young kids that may be too young to know who you are. Give a quick little background of who you are and where you at now and what you do too.
Yeah, man. So, I guess I kind of start in the beginning, man. I'm from Louisiana, born and
Mm-hmm.
raised in the boot. Fred Jackson, who was a running back coach at Michigan at the time, he was responsible for Louisiana territory. He got me and A Train and pretty much all the Louisiana boys to come up there to Michigan, man. And he lied to us on a recruiting trip, man. He told us it didn't get that cold in Michigan. And my freshman year, it was the coldest in Michigan history, man. I was ready to go home, but I ended up sticking it out, man. But I got to Michigan in 1994. Was there to 1998. Obviously, we had that great season in '97, and yeah, man, it was awesome, man. Coming out of high school, I was one of the top running backs in the country. It's crazy because now when I think about it and I look at some of the awards that I had, one of the awards that I had was Reebok preseason All American, and one of the guys that was on that award was also Allen Iverson as a cornerback. So that lets you know how old I am. That Allen Iverson was or a preseason All American cornerback coming out of high school as well, man. So yeah, man, played at University of Michigan. We had a good year my senior year, and I went on to play in the NFL for a couple years. Retired early, just kind of burnt out, injuries, and transitioned into doing public relations. Worked in entertainment finance for a little bit. Got bit by the producer bug and wanted to work in television. And I've been working in TV on behind the camera for like the last 15 years.
All right. I want to say a quick shout out to our DSN brothers out there,
That's
DSN
cool. That's
Detroit,
cool.
and got Big Willie Styles. Welcome, y'all. Bree, you want to start off, man? Bree?
Absolutely. So one thing. Oh, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we here.
So I wanted to start. One thing I wanted to start off with is like how was like Mr. How was your time like being going to Michigan and then going to the NFL? Like how much of a transition is that from Michigan to the NFL?
Well, first, man, y'all going to call me Chris. Y'all going to call me Mr. Howard. I ain't that old. Nah,
All
but
right.
the
Just a level of respect. That's how I do
I,
it.
I appreciate it, man. But y'all aging me, man. Y'all aging me, man. Like y'all got y'all granddaddy on here or something.
Hey,
Oh no.
Nah, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, man. So the transition from the NFL or from college to NFL is just like, high school to college. I tell people all the time, there's a lot of great high school players who end up being average college players. There's a lot of great college players who end up being average NFL players, and some of them don't even make it to the NFL. So that lets you know how big of a transition it is, because you're talking about thousands of athletes, right? Thousands of athletes that, each team in college probably has 85 kids on the roster. Each NFL team only has 53 guys, or probably around 60 guys, including practice squad guys, on a roster. So the further you get up the ladder, the less people that there are. And the other thing that I learned in NFL was, because I felt like the NFL was like, maybe it's comprised of all these kids that come from like these big schools. And that wasn't the case either. Like, a lot of guys that I played with in Jacksonville was like from South Alabama State and all these other schools that I'd never heard of. And you realize that they're just as talented. And you're thinking to yourself, like, oh, I went to Michigan, I should be better than these guys, because that's not the case. There's a lot of reasons why some guys probably didn't go D1. It just because, they may have been from a small city, may not have had the grades, so they had to go the JUCO route. But when you get to the NFL, man, it's the top tier of athletes in the world that make it to that level. So when I got to the NFL, man, I learned real quickly that I was like, yo, this is different. Everybody's big, everybody's strong, everybody's fast. You're playing against grown ass men who have bills, who have kids, So it's a different level than when you're playing against other teenagers. When you get to the NFL, you're playing against men who have responsibilities, and it's different, man. It takes some adjustment, but once you make that adjustment, you realize you will adapt. The game slows down, and you start to kind of find your way in. But there definitely is a transition where you have to have the right mindset. I think a lot of times guys get complacent because they were the man in college, and they think they're going to make that transition easily when they get to the NFL. And it's not. It's like you're having to start all over again, right? It's like when you're the man in high school, you get to college, you just a snot-nosed freshman that don't know shit. You know what I mean? You're a senior in college, you're the man.
right.
But when you get to the NFL, you're a snot-nosed rookie who don't know shit. And so you're always having to relearn and
Exactly.
grow into your position and grow into that next level.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh man.
Absolutely.
Man. So I guess I'll go ahead now. We go off that. Oh, go ahead, Bree.
Oh no, go ahead, Gnomes.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to ask him, if we wanted to get into it and get into the gears while we is talking about Michigan. Obviously, there's a lot of news going on in college football right now, with specifically involving the University of Michigan, and the allegations with these whole the signs, and you got Jim Harbaugh with the whole cheeseburger thing. Oh man, it's just a big mess. And then I'm here in Ohio. I'm sorry, that school in Columbus. We don't call them by their usual name over here.
Yeah.
We call them the school in Columbus. That scenario, and not even that. You with MSU, you had the scenario over there with the head coach now, former head coach situation. So, what's your opinion about this whole thing with Michigan and the sign stuff? And if you think it's some foul work going on behind the scenes, or was it you seen anything similar back in your time? Or just like, who give us your opinion on that?
Well, back when I played, I think it was. I mean, we didn't have everything that they have today, right? Like the type of technology that they have today is much different than what we had back then, right? Like probably our guys, you know, were sitting in the press box with binoculars, you know what I mean, trying to figure out what guys are calling. But I never knew of sign stealing until recently. I think you kind of know that it happens because it's so. I mean, why at a certain level, I should say, because why wouldn't you try to use that as a competitive advantage? If I see a dude's on the sideline and I'm an offense coordinator and I see him holding up a burger sign, right, and I see guys on his team make adjustments when he holds up that burger sign, of course I'm going to make a mental note of that and write that down or go back and watch footage and see and try to game plan around that. But I think that happens within the context of the game, right? That happens within the game. I think what Michigan is being accused of, it goes beyond that, right? It's when you're sending people to other opposing team stadiums, which is clearly against the rules. That goes beyond the pale of what happens within the stadium during your game against that team. So, you know, for me, man, I try not to be a hypocrite because I know if the shoe was on the other foot, if this was Ohio State being, this report came out against Ohio State and it was the shoes on the other foot, I know Michigan fans would be like, see, we told you they're cheating, they're cheaters, they're cheaters. So I don't want to be that type of person. I don't want to be a hypocrite and act like I'm on my high moral horse over here, right? So I will say this, you know, you have to let the investigation play out. You have to find out where the buck stops. You have to find out who knew what, who was all involved, and then you go from there. Now, what the NCAA will do, what the Big Ten will do, I have no earthly idea. They may do nothing, but I don't think it's going to impact this season. I don't think anything is going to happen this season. It's probably going to happen. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen, you know, 1 year, 2 years down the road. But as of right now, you know, we just know everything that's being trickled out, little information here, little information there. This kid, Colin, whatever the hell his name, Stallions, whatever, sounds kind of like he was more of like a super fan who got embedded into University of Michigan and decided to put together this elaborate sign stealing operation. And now Michigan is in hot water. So I think you got to let the investigation play out and then let the chips, you know, fall as they may. Because at the end of the day, man, if you did something illegal, then there's going to be consequences. No matter the school, no matter the coach, no matter the situation, there are going to be consequences. And there should be consequences, right? Because we want to have the game to be, we want the game to be fair. We want the game to still have its integrity. And also we want to make sure that we're keeping the kids safe as well.
Absolutely. And that's the big thing, is just keeping these kids safe and just whatever happened, you know, hopefully that's not, you know, all that is false and everything can just go back to normal at Michigan. And hopefully it was just some guy that just, you know, that was hating and just coming up with things to try to tarnish Michigan. Because that's what it seems like. Yeah. And hopefully they can do something like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, listen, I think at the end of the day, the truth will come out. And right now, I think we're all doing a lot of speculating, right? We're all trying to put pieces together when we don't have all the pieces to the puzzle yet. So, but whatever happened, the NCAA will do their investigation. The Big Ten will probably do their investigation. And if there are people who need to be held accountable, then those people will be held accountable. Again, you got to let the investigation run through its process and then, you know, let the chips fall as it may. It may sting. We may not like the outcome, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, man.
All right.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Now, Chris, I gotta ask you this, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, and I know you gonna smile when you when you hear this. But How good did it feel that Michigan beat Michigan State?
Oh man, listen, it felt amazing. Even on my podcast, I was talking about this. I said, I want them to just utterly dominate Michigan State. I want them to like beat the brakes off of them. And again, and I don't mean that like disrespectfully, because I know that's what they want to do to us. But I want to make sure that I was tired of those games where we would win 23-6 and we had to kick 6 field goals, and then you read the headlines, Michigan dominates Michigan State. It's like, no, like we kicked 6 field goals. Like that's nothing. So for a team like Michigan and the state that Michigan State is in right now, like they're not having their finest season. You cannot let a team like that define their season based off of that one particular game. Because if they could play spoiler to Michigan's season, if they can catch us sleeping and beat us, then that ruins the entire season, and then that makes their entire season. I don't want to give them anything that they can build off of, right? I don't want anyone to feel like there's hope, because I know that's what they want
Right.
for us. I still want the game to be competitive. I still want the game to be without all the crap that's been going on the last couple of years, with the extracurricular stuff. I just want the game to be played on the field, and I want it to be competitive, but I also want to dominate Michigan State. And they did. And I felt great. I felt like they left no doubt who was the victor. And they played a very complete game, offense, defense, special teams. They did to Michigan State what they've been doing to pretty much everyone. And again, people will say, well, we haven't played anyone. Well, that's not Michigan's fault. You can only play what's on your schedule. You still have to go out and play though. And that team is still full of D1 kids who are on scholarship, still have a coaching staff, still have athletes. They still got to go out there and play. So at the end of the day, you can only play who's in front of you. But I absolutely loved it, to sum that up.
I hear you.
Well, Reed finishes evil laugh. So far for y'all who just coming in, just want to let y'all know, man.
Oh no, that's cool.
No, just want to let y'all know that DC1, Daryl, our other co-host, couldn't make it in, of course, today due to technical difficulties, unfortunately. So, shout out to Daryl. And if y'all just coming in again, we have Chris Howard, the legend himself, Michigan alumni, joining the show. So make sure y'all hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more and hit that notification bell, man. So the other thing I was gonna say now, I hate to get toxic, but now me, I'm a tweener. I love all my Michigan schools. I don't get really into that whole competitive thing. The Breed here is a full-time Michigan State.
Well, no. You got to get it right. I'm a fan of both. I'm just more of a Sparty. But if Michigan beats us, I will give them the full respect. I'm not a hater. I give full respect. When Michigan was pounding State, I was as much as I had a tear in my eye, I had to give Michigan respect, because I was just like, hey, I give them respect. I mean, hey, it's nothing I can say.
Right. Yeah, listen, man.
They whooped us.
Yeah, man. Like for me, man, like I tell everybody all the time, like, I'm from Louisiana. So when I got to Michigan, I didn't know about the whole Michigan State rivalry. It's like, but you talk to guys on the team, it's like most of those cats played against each other in high school. Most of them played with each other in Pop Warner or Little League or whatever the hell y'all call it, y'all Little League team out there. So a lot of those guys know each other. So for me, when I got to Michigan, I was like, I didn't really get it, right? And everybody was like, no, you gotta hate Michigan State. I'm like, okay, but why? Like I'm not getting why I need to like wish death upon these people that I don't know. And but I learned real quick after that first year. I learned real quick, like, what that rivalry meant. And, it's I mean, listen, man, it's a great rivalry. I mean, you got Michigan State, you got Michigan, all fighting for supremacy in the state of Michigan, all fighting for the same recruits. And it's just a really great rivalry that I think in the past couple of years have just kind of gotten, toxic. But what rivalry isn't toxic at this point, right? And I think as long as we can keep it within the fairness of the game, like I know guys who went to Michigan State. I knew guys who played at Michigan State, and then like once we got out of the confines of the rivalry, right? Like in the NFL, it was much more jovial. It was much more fun to be around each other when we could just sit there and like be men and just put all the other stuff aside.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. That's all. That's what it's all about. It's all about. Rivalry is going to be rivalry. So it's just not the same without having rivalries. So
right.
I agree with that 100%. So, but I have to ask you this question, Chris. What do you think about the with the Big Ten? What do you think about the new teams that are coming in? The Oregons, the Washingtons, the USCs, teams like that. What is your opinion about them coming in 2024 in the Big Ten, and is that going to make the Big Ten better in your opinion?
Yeah, it's definitely going to make it better. I mean, at first, for me, I was kind of like a real traditionalist. Like I was like, man, we're going to lose, some of the rivalries. We're going to lose some great games. But then I thought about it from the perspective of the fans, right? Like imagine being able to watch Michigan versus USC or Michigan State versus UCLA on a regular basis now. So if you're a fan and you want to see great games, you want to see elevated games, no knock to anybody who went to Indiana, no knock to anybody who went to Purdue, but you're going to be way more excited to see Ohio State play USC, Michigan play Oregon, Michigan State play UCLA. You're going to be way more excited about those tickets that you have, those home tickets that you have, as opposed to Michigan State versus Indiana, right? So I think it enhances the league, and I'm sick and tired of people talking about the SEC, right? Like how great the SEC is. I think this helps elevate the Big Ten because now, from top to middle all the way to the bottom, we're a very competitive league when we added those teams from the West Coast. So I like it now. I didn't like it before, but once I started to think about, man, like those games on the weekend now, it just went to a whole nother level. And I'd much rather see those games as opposed to, us playing FAU and UConn and, all these other teams. I think it just makes it that much more interesting. And there's a lot more at stake now when you talk about those games. No more of those get ready games, right? So now you really have some really competitive games to look forward to.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the thing is too, like before we switch off and for a few minutes to talk about the Lions, I did want to say this. How does that process? Because one thing about Michigan, like you said earlier, you have to play what's in front of you. Now, to me, I'm personally like this. I love competition. Like for example, like the Lions who we'll talk about in a second. I hated the fact that Aaron Rodgers got traded out of Green Bay. I wanted to keep him here and let's beat him again. But the thing about Michigan gets a lot of scrutiny because they do have a very neighborhood friendly little league schedule. They start off the year, Bowling Green, Hawaii's and stuff like that. Is that more defined? Like to me, is that more defined because of the scenario involving? Like, who's in charge of the scheduling? Like, why do you think that Michigan gets those kind of teams and maybe other teams may start off a little bit harder? Like, is that Michigan choosing the competition, or is it just being directed to them? Like, what's your information you really know about how the scheduling works? Because it's just, I just need to get the information for that.
Well, a lot of the scheduling is set almost like 3 and 4 years in advance, right? So you don't really know that, hey, in 4 years I'm going to be really good, so let me schedule these cupcake teams on my schedule, right? I mean, Michigan at present day could have looked like Michigan in 2020, which was an awful team. You know what I mean? So those schedules are planned out way way in advance. Now, part of that is, financially motivated. And then part of that is motivated by, hey, who can we get on the schedule, that's going to make it a little bit easier. But nowadays that actually hurts you because of the college football playoff committee, because now they're judging you based on strength of schedule, based on your opponent's wins and losses. So if you schedule cupcake teams and somebody else has, let's say if it's between you and Oklahoma who gets in, right? They may put Oklahoma in over you because your schedule is weak. So now it's not in your best interest to schedule those cupcake teams, which I think makes sense. And I think it's going to keep more schools accountable so that they're not just, padding their stats, padding their schedule. But to answer your question, again, I think it's financially motivated, and then I also think it's motivated to, well, what's the easier path to us to get to our ultimate goal. But I also say this: I think for Michigan, considering what Michigan had a lot of injuries at the beginning of the season, a lot of their defensive starters didn't play. It's probably good that they had those cupcake games set up, because if they had to play in Oregon right off the top with missing half their secondary, that game might have looked like Oregon versus Colorado. You know what I mean? So sometimes it works in your benefit because it gives you time to catch up, right? Work all the cobwebs out, work on your offense, your defense, get everything up to speed. And then sometimes it comes back to bite you in the ass when it's time to go in front of the college football playoff committee when they're trying to judge you based on your schedule.
Right. So great response and answer to that. I appreciate that. But for a second, want to welcome in our brother co-host who I thought we lost today. So my spirit is doing much better. Another Michigan State fan, full timer. My brother D313XP.
What's up, fellas, man?
What's up?
What's going on, Chris? Man, what's going on with you, man? It's nice to meet you, man.
Same here, brother. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm a little behind, man. I'm actually at work. I'm on my break, so
commitment, baby. I like it.
Yeah, so I said I'm gonna come on here, man, before I got to get back to work. So, and it's so crazy too, since you're a Michigan man, I actually work out in Ann Arbor. So,
oh really? That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
Yeah. So, So, Chris, I just hear you was talking about the Michigan schedule. Now, here's my only problem with that. Here's my only problem with Michigan these cupcake schedules. It's mighty funny to me that Michigan always had these. It's been a long time. It's mighty funny. You always have these cupcake schedules and get away with it. And then when it comes down to when they play competition, when it matters the most, they lose. It's an example for last year. Mm-hmm. They turn around. They went undefeated throughout the regular season. Won the Big Ten championship. Fine. Then you get in the playoff. You're supposed to beat a team like TCU. No disrespect to TCU, but you lose to them. And now you got this cupcake schedule again. The only different team that I can say that was, even though they beat them down, was Rutgers. Rutgers are a good football team. Mm-hmm. It's going through these cupcake schedules, and this is unacceptable. You don't see Georgia, Alabama's, even I don't say their name. We're in this channel. We don't say the school. We don't say their name. We say the School of Columbus. We say their name. We don't say their name. We just say School of Columbus. Mm-hmm. At least them, they just play Notre Dame. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. It's like every time, it's like, then I say, I know you're a Michigan alumni. I'm not disrespecting, but it's just unbelievable that you just keep getting away with these cupcakes the first 4 or 5 games of the season, and it's like, come on now. I mean, what's some competition at? I'm just,
I agree.
It is like with I don't go around like even with Michigan State. I'm a Michigan State fan. Even if Michigan State playing a bunch of cupcake teams, it won't be fair. It won't be fair. It's just like I mean, it is what it is. Michigan's ranked number 2 in the country, but I mean, again, it's this cupcake schedule. It has to stop. You know,
I agree.
And they got it. They got next season. They ain't got no cupcake. They got Texas coming to town in Ann Arbor next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think again, and that's what I was talking about earlier was, Michigan putting these schedules together typically happens 3-4 years in advance, right? So yeah, you can predict that you're going to be a good team in 3-4 years. You can hope that you're going to be a good team in 3-4 years. And that gives you the advantage that's saying that, hey, I know I'm going to be 3-4 years. We're going to be a good team. So I'm going to schedule Chattanooga, FAU, UConn, whatever, right? And you're doing that for a specific reason, right? Or 2 specific reasons. One, it's a financial decision, and then 2, it's also a decision that you feel like it paves an easier way for you to get to your ultimate goal, right? Now, what I will say is, but Michigan also is not the only team that does this with their schedule. Now, Michigan might be the only team that has 3-4 games lined up in a row that you have kind of like that. But then you have Georgia, who in the middle of the season may play FAU, or Alabama may play after their 3rd, 4th game may play Chattanooga. But I think the problem is how many of those games you have stacked back to back. And then, let's be honest, the Big Ten has not been a strong conference, right? It's really been Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State had their run for a number of years. And in Michigan, everybody else has been kind of trash, right? If I'm being honest. Whereas in the SEC, I mean, it's murderer's row every week, right? Whether it's Florida playing Tennessee playing Georgia, Bama playing Kentucky, whoever it is, it's a very competitive league. Our league, not so much. Right, unless someone slips up and loses to Purdue, right? Like Ohio State did a couple years ago. We're just not a very strong league from top to bottom like the SEC is. Now, moving forward, we're not going to have that issue because you got Texas, you got USC, you got Oregon coming in. A couple of the other schools that are coming into the big. So those days of the cupcake schedule, I think, is going to come to an end because of the college football playoff implications. You're not going to be able to get away with that like you were in the past. So I agree with you, man. They can't get away with it anymore.
Right.
Absolutely. It just mind boggles me, like you said, at least with the Alabama, Georgia, we in Clemson's, you're gonna play one of those cupcake teams. But at least it's like I said, Michigan's the only team that is stacked the first 4 games. It seems like every year, and it's ridiculous. And like, when you're gonna play some competition,
Yeah, listen, I agree. I think most Michigan fans, listen, as great as it is to be undefeated, I don't think anyone is under the illusion of they haven't played anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, we talk about it on my podcast all the time, is that's the thing that keeps me from, really jumping on the train, is because I know at the end of the day, competition is only going to get more competitive as the season continues, because it's only Penn State and really Ohio State left on your schedule. That's any teams that's really worth it, right? More than likely, if you get past those 2 teams, I mean, I hate to say it, but you might be playing Iowa again for the Big Ten championship, which is crazy. So I think the rest of the league also has to step it up all through. And then I think we have to do something with Michigan State, Penn State, all of us being on the same side. I think something has to happen with that, us all being in the same conference, because the West just isn't. It ain't holding it up.
Well, what they're actually going to do is next season is not going to be divisions.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not going to be divisions since Oregon, Washington, and UCLA, USC coming.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to be divisions, but there are still going to keep the matchups, the big rivalry matchups like the Michigan State,
right?
The Michigan against the school of Columbus, the other ones, like Oregon, all them. You're still gonna have those lot matchups. You're still gonna have those, but I think they're gonna maybe down the line they're gonna work on divisions, breaking that back. But as of night, they taking the divisions out and just like, hey, which I like what the Big Ten has did as far as the scheduling. At least you go, like, say if Michigan has to go out, fly out to Oregon,
right?
One time instead of have to go flying twice or three times out there, and vice versa. Same with those Oregon and USC, they come fly out here, once, so
right.
I like what the Big Ten is, as far as the schedule makers that they did, just to, not the wear and tear on these kids, I'm saying.
Yeah, so, that's a lot of travel, especially like, again, going all the way to the West Coast. I mean, you guys, I'm sure y'all have traveled to the West Coast. By the time you try to get off the plane, get to the hotel, do what you need to do, and then talking about trying to play a football game, that's going to be a lot. So I agree with you. I like the way they've got it scheduled so far. Yeah, and we'll see what happens with, like, again, how they figure out the divisions. But again, I think moving forward is going to be much more competitive than what we've seen in the past.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Y'all got anything, fellas?
Yeah, just before I was just about to say, before we transition to the Lions and stuff, again, DC1 just joined us. About to get into the Lions talk in a minute. Make sure y'all drop a like on the stream, man, and share it with your family, your people, to whoever. And don't forget to hit the subscribe and notification bell to get the thing going. I want to switch gears while we still have a few minutes or whatever. I believe you still have a few minutes, right?
Yeah, we're good.
Chris. Okay. So I would like to take a chance real quick to switch to the NFL, talk a little bit of the hometown team here, and just general what's going on in the NFL with the Lions. We just came off a very I don't know how else to say this. We just came off of a straight up ass beating by Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. Yeah. And a lot of fans who haven't missed emotions since then. Lions are now 5-2. Just in those type of situations, I know you played for Jacksonville. I know you were drafted by Denver, I believe. Just in those situations, you had those type of losses like the Lions did Sunday. What, as a team, what do you have to do when you are already going through one of the most injured seasons y'all have? You expected to have a good year, or not playing football you think you like to play, or you just went and had a bad loss. How do you recover for something like that? Like, what were your experiences past in the NFL in that process?
Well, you don't let one bad loss turn into two bad losses. You just got to go back, look at the film. The good thing about it is, man, is like, again, you know when you play bad, right? Coach don't need to tell you when you play like shit. Coach don't need to tell you that you didn't do your job. And as they say, the film don't lie. And trust me, last thing you, as a player who didn't do his job, the last thing you want to do is be in that film room, because you not doing your job is about to get pointed out for everyone to see. And, that's where personal accountability comes into play, because if I didn't do my job as a running back and I didn't make a block, or I missed an assignment and I got my quarterback hit, well, my quarterback gonna be looking at me like I'm crazy, because he's gonna be like, yo, like like what's going on? So part of it is that that embarrassment that you have to carry with you, and being able to have to look your teammates in the eye and them looking at you eye to eye and having to come face to face with the fact that you just didn't do your job, right? So part of that is just personal accountability. You're a professional. You get paid a shit ton of money to go out there and do your job. For whatever reason, the Lions didn't do their job. To give up that many points, and when I was looking at the stats, I mean, statistically, it looked like they should have scored more points than that. So I think on the defense side of the ball, Dan Campbell's going to have a real conversation with some folks, because that's not good enough, and that's not what we've been seeing from that Lions defense over the past couple weeks. So you just got to go look at the tape, man, and just understand, like, that's not the character of this team. That what we put out there, what we saw, our effort is not the character of that team. So you just can't let one loss turn into, or one bad loss turn into two bad losses, because they didn't play well, period. And they know that.
Absolutely, man. It just, I'm under the type, and with this game, I'm not going to overreact. I know it happens in the NFL. We see good teams get beat bad. The Lions had a reality check, in that situation. They had a reality check. It just, everybody, even the media was going, oh, the Lions are the number one team, and this is third, and they play against a team which we all thought that they was probably gonna lose to them, to Baltimore Ravens, which they have the defense, they have the guys. You talk about a guy Lamar Jackson, MVP. You got a guy like Mark Andrews, one of the best tight ends in football. Baltimore always been known for their defense. Always been known for their defense. They always gonna be with a John Harbaugh, a great coach, as he been in coaching that team for 15 plus years. You know what you're gonna get out of this Baltimore team. And the Lions, like you said, Chris, they didn't come to play.
Yep.
Baltimore came up, marched downfield, they hit them in the mouth. The Lions, they didn't play well. They didn't get enough pressure on Lamar Jackson. He didn't really beat him on a run. He beat him with he beat him on throwing the football in the pocket.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy about it, because Lamar Jackson, what he's gonna run. It.
Yeah.
But he beat him by throwing in the pocket, making the right reads. And then when he had to scramble, confuses the defense, find a guy wide open. Whether it's for a touchdown, first down. But this is something the Lions have to, they have to clean up going forward. Like you said, this is one of those games that you sometimes you need a beat down to get yourself back together again.
Yeah.
And this is one of those games.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think a lot of times when everything is going right, you're not prepared for when shit goes wrong, and it's not, a lot of it is not on tape, right? So, and that's the thing about, I always say, like, you learn more about yourself in a loss than you do in a win, because now you actually know what it feels like. What worked and what didn't work. And now you can kind of go back to the drawing board and figure out, how do we right the ship, right? Because obviously was it our effort or was it scheme, right? A lot of times you can go and play with great effort, but if the scheme ain't right, the scheme ain't right. It don't matter what you do. So there's a lot of things that they have, what we call teachable moments, that they can now go back and look at the film, break it down, and say, hey, man, even as a coaching staff, they can go back and say, hey, that scheme didn't work, right? That didn't work for a Lamar Jackson. But here's why I say why you don't necessarily get down on the Lions. how many other Lamar Jacksons are you going to play? You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to face that kind of guy that many times in your season. So, you know, that's why I say, like, don't necessarily, you know, get down. Just understand that, hey, listen, you played Baltimore. They're a good team defensively. They got one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Take it on the chin, move on.
Absolutely. You know, and Dan Campbell said it too. Dan Campbell said it, you know, after that loss. He said, you know, the energy was there. It's just the discipline and the details wasn't there. And he is absolutely right.
Yeah.
The details and discipline was not there, especially on the defensive side.
Yeah.
And it made the offense, and the offense was struggling. The offense got out there, they were struggling for the majority of the game, and credit to Baltimore's defense. You know, they one of the best defenses in the league. So Lions, you know, like I said, not going to overreact this loss. This is only their second loss of the season. You know, they got the Raiders coming up, which they're a suspect team anyway. The Raiders, you know, like Dan Campbell made a point earlier that I was reading about. He said that about the Raiders, about Max Crosby, one of the best pass rushers in the game that, you know, that the Lions gonna have to face. So I'm quite sure Dan Campbell and that coaching staff is getting prepared and ready for this game. Look past what happened at Baltimore. You know, that was their loss. They look, you know what I'm saying, just move forward. You learn from it, move on.
Yeah.
Bree, no?
Oh no, I agree. Listen, a week ago on my podcast, we were talking about the Lions potentially being the best team in the NFL. So you don't just lose all that you built up. You know what I mean? I like, again, you're not as good as your best win, and you're not as bad as your worst loss. You're more like somewhere in between with the ability to make adjustments. You know what I mean? So again, when you do things that are uncharacteristic, especially of a Dan Campbell defense, when you do things that are uncharacteristically that you typically do not do, you almost have to look at that like it's a one-off, right? And look at the film, go back, make adjustments, and then go back to, because they got the guys. You just got to go back, like he said. You know, it was a details situation where, hey man, you got to have eye discipline. You got to stay on your keys. So they'll make the changes. And again, I still think Lions is still one of the best teams in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. Because the people got to understand,
Right.
Lamar Jackson is a cheat code. He makes a lot of defense look bad. Like I've always said this, like, Lamar Jackson is this generation's Michael Vick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just scary what this guy does, and the thing with Baltimore, they play in a physical division. You know, when you have Cleveland and Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, which there are a lot of physical teams, especially Cleveland and Pittsburgh. They're known for being real physical teams, and that's what embodies the Ravens. They've been like that, you know, for years, ever since the Ray Lewis days.
Yeah,
they've always been that physical team, and they've had a physical runner. So they've always been that way. So I think a lot of fans, they get uptight about every time the Lions lose, and they say, "Oh man, they lost, and they suck," and all that. I'm like, they're still the second best team in NFC.
Right. Like
if I could take a loss like that and still be the second best in NFC, I'll take that any day.
Right.
You know, it's a lot of times like these, you know, the experts that say, "Oh, it's just the loss." You know, guys like Stephen A. Smith and everybody like, "Oh, their flaws are in there. They're not that good," and you know, just after one loss. But then they don't say the same thing when the Eagles or the 49ers lose. They just lose. But when the Lions lose, it's they you know, same old Lions and everything. So we as like diehard fans, we get tired of hearing things like that because we know it's not the same old Lions.
Yeah,
it's just not.
Yeah, well, that's why you wear the Detroit versus everybody shirt, right? Because
Yes,
everybody
sir.
don't have to believe in you as long as you believe in it, right? Like Dion said, your perception of me is not the perception I have of myself. And for the Lions, I think I think fans get down because your hopes get up high, right? And especially when you start off the way they started off, you get excited. You're like, yo, is this our year? And so when you have that first loss, especially when you lose like that, it can be like, okay, same old thing. Here we go again. Got my hopes up high, and then it kind of brings you down. But I think you have to recognize the key components that you have are different than what you had in the past. The thing that you had in the past, I say the same thing about Michigan. As a Michigan fan, I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. I never believe in how good we are, because I played on teams that went 7-0, 8-0, or 9-0, and then we dropped the ball against Northwestern, and then we end the season 8-4. You know what I mean? So as a Michigan fan, I kind of have PTSD because I'm used to us messing it up at the end, right? And doing something that we haven't done all season, and we play like crap, and we lose to TCU. So I understand where Lions fans are coming from, because I kind of suffer from the same thing. But just like for me, I had to realize that this is a different Michigan team. Lions fans have to realize that this is a different Lions team under different leadership.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Nomis, got anything to add?
So, no, what I was going to say is, the Lions. Look, you knew coming into this year that we were the new team coming up. So we were up and coming. They were trying to find their identity last year and show the world that they can be the team. That's what they did. This is the year to take the next step, and I think we have done that. And this does not define us not taking our division. There are not too many teams that are going to face this bit like the Ravens, hands down. And as long as you don't get caught, in your own hype again, and you don't get caught, off the rails and not being laser focused, staying on the job, you should be able to win these games, and that includes even your divisional rivals. And the health thing has been hurting us a lot. We've been taking a lot of injuries in a lot of key areas, so and trying to recover from that, but we still have come together. So again, at the end of the day, we're just not built to that stature of a team like Baltimore. We're not that level. We're trying to show how good we still are. That's a team that's trying to prove they can get to the Super Bowl, and we're trying to prove that we can win our division. I mean, we're just on two different levels right now, and I do feel like, a lot of fans say they'll panic and say you got to go. They got to go get Patrick Surtain. First of all, Denver's not about to give him up. You got Brian Burns and all these names. These teams are not trying to give them up right now, because they want to deal with these guys in the next couple years. So, and I'm not giving up a first round pick just to go get them because you're frantic. Now, I do at the same time believe it's like you have to make a trade, because now once you have that measuring tool, once you learn and see what level you are, you have to focus on what's in front of you, which is the Raiders. But at the same time, back in your mind, you got to know, if we're expected to go to a certain level, we got to be ready when we get to that level. So, we can't control what happens in January while it's still in October. You got to wait till January to deal with what's going to happen in January. So you got to wait till December what's going to happen with, December. You got to wait, when that bill is time to come that you got to pay your $500 light bill. You got to wait till it's time to get that bill. You can't over worry about it right now, until the months get there, right? But you can prepare yourself, take the measures. And I think the Lions could make a move here that can maybe give them a little more juice to cook with, especially while they're injured up the way they are. You know what I'm saying? That, maybe they can find a way to do something. If they can't, so be it. But, if I'm Brian Holmes, I'm taking that as a grain of salt. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, let me get on the phone, because I do want to make sure that my team is ready if they do face more adversity. Because, today's problems are not tomorrow's problems. And And today is good ain't always tomorrow's good. So if you go tomorrow, you come in and say, hey, I feel good. We got Aiden, and then God forbid something happens to Aiden Hutchinson the next day. Now you in a world of trouble. You know what I'm saying? And now you're losing the main guy that's giving you anything on that D line. Or the guy who's big, losing Lehman. So you want to make sure you are prepared. And I think that's what the Lions will be tested with as of right now, going into the trade deadline and preparing for this Monday night game that I already said if the Bears beat them 30-12, the Lions got to put 40 on them, because to me, you got to let the world know how angry you are for being disrespected on so many levels of not only just getting your butt spanked by the Ravens, but the media, national attention, which I didn't care about us being called fraudulence, because I knew that was going to happen the second we lost. Any game, like, it's always one hand on the door, one hand on the other opposite end with Lions or any Detroit franchise. So, and I know a lot of these ESPN articles, they don't understand detail. They only get told to talk about what's happening right now at the moment. So, I remember one game after we beat Green Bay, they're trying to talk about guys like Isaiah Buzz. ESPN don't know.
Hey, don't mean to cut you off, man. So, just said Chris has to get out of here. So Chris Howard, so he does has to get out of here. So just want to let you know. Chris, you got any final thoughts, man?
No, man. Hey, man, I appreciate you guys bringing me on, man. And anytime, I'd love to join you guys again. Anytime, just let me know, and we'll chop it up, man. And listen, it don't matter if you're Michigan State, man. We got a lot of things in common, brother.
Hey, just a fun.
You ain't lying.
Just a fun fact, right quick. What was your favorite when you was playing for U of M? What was your favorite food spot in Ann Arbor?
Mr. Spots.
My man. You know what's so crazy? I just went there yesterday.
Mr. Spots wings, man. Like, it was
on State Street, baby.
On State Street, classic. I knew what I was gonna get. I knew it was gonna be good, and it was just a real low key, and that was it. And it was what I could afford as a college student.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, man. Anytime, brothers. I appreciate it, man. My wife calling me right now. Yeah. So I appreciate it, man. Okay. Thank you, guys. Y'all guys have a good one.
All right, thanks, Chris, man. Thank you. Well, welcome anytime, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming on, man. Yes, sir.
Yeah, sorry, right. No, didn't need to cut you off. He had to get out.
Oh no, you all good. I just hope I didn't take away his time there. Yeah, he did say he stayed on longer than he actually said he would be. So, want to say shout out to him. Make sure y'all follow him on his podcast too, in the Plugged In Pod. So, make sure y'all catch that man on his show, man. Michigan alumni there. Want to welcome anybody to the chat. Ray Moore, what's going on, my guy?
Ray.
And if y'all out there, man, again, we're talking Lions, about to get ready to switch over to Raiders, and then we'll talk basketball when we split the thing out. Make sure y'all share this stream, man. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell, man, so we get this thing going. So, as I was saying, like, with Green Bay, after we lost, now I remember watching the first tape, and they were trying to sit here and say, like, oh, they got this guy Isaiah Buzz, and it's like, you don't know nothing about Isaiah Buzz. You don't know how he came on the team and how he got here, his journey, how he even was with this roster. You don't know the details of how this team constructed. You're just talking about him because we're the good team right now. The Cowboys suck. The Cowgirls suck. And, y'all got to talk about us because we are 5-1. And you got to acknowledge that, because it wouldn't be fair in the media world's eyes with the hype that's around us. Y'all don't know nothing about us. Y'all trying to pretend y'all do. Y'all are programmed and getting these sheets to look to say. You don't know how to speak for us. It's the same thing our guy Sergio says all the time. That's why he doesn't work there anymore. ESPN and FS1. There's no legitimacy when it comes to sports day. Everything's pretty much a WWE main event wrestling match on those shows. It's predetermined conversations. It's what builds revenue. And at the end of the day, if you're getting your emotions because he called us fraudulent, that's what he does. He gets millions of dollars paid to switcheroo and turnovers. God forbid we go win a playoff game, he'll be right back on the bandwagon. So with that, you just have to take that one in the bud. For us, We got to stay zero focused in as Detroit Lions, and our GM has to be the main one that's zero focused in. It starts up there in that front office. Both losses you had this year, you given up over 30 points. And not saying, and it's been to the teams that really know how to play football and that play in tough conferences. So you have to take at some point that with a grain of salt. That's not discrediting our wins, you know what I'm saying? We had a very good win. Like I said, Jared Goff played his ass off, you know, against Tampa Bay, and that defense stood up to him and did what he had to do. But you forced him to throw about 50-some passes this past game to an even crazier defense on the road while just coming off a road trip, and that wasn't fair to him. You know what I'm saying? The Lions have to get the fundamentals, and they have to get back to basics every time. They have to reset what they do in order to keep themselves afloat. You know, you have to come in these games knowing who's going to be your bell cow at running back. You have to come in this game knowing who's going to be your starter at the D line and wherever at your own line. You have to know who you can trust out there. If you drafted Jameer Gibbs, if you tell me Craig Reynolds is on the team, if you tell me a DJ Azebo, whatever his name is, one of those guys got to be the bell cow. You got to trust one of those guys. I know that's a little bit somewhat unfair to Jameer Gibbs to ask him to come off injury and literally come in and play one of the best defenses in the league off the very, rip, coming off that hamstring injury, whatever that was that he was out. But then, there's going to be a side that says, well, hey, he's tough in the draft. And I feel that because, like I said before, your run game should not live and die by David Montgomery. Not with this offensive line. But I just think they got smacked in the mouth. And like you said, they got blew out. When you beating up on teams, there's always going to be somebody bigger and better than you. And at the end of the day, we're on two different wavelengths. They play in a rough conference, and they're trying to prove that they can get to a Super Bowl or stay in the playoffs. We trying to prove that we can win our division. And that's just where we are. And that's an experienced coaching staff versus a real young one that's still coming up and coming. And that's just the bottom line to it. Like I said to y'all a few weeks ago, this coaching staff is better than they were 2 years ago. Jared Goff is a better quarterback than he was 2 years ago. His offense is better offensive system than it was 2 years ago. Ben Johnson is better than he was 2 years ago. Aaron Glenn, the guy that people still trying to blame and want to fire him for every stupid reason. I got people still making excuses about software when your defensive line is not getting enough pressure because they don't have enough premium talent that can contest a good offensive line. It's Aiden Hutchinson and the three steppers out there. So to fire Aaron Glenn is just pointless. He's a better coordinator than he was 2 years ago. What that tells me is that we need to get more premium talent over this between this trade deadline and just these next couple of years as we're building as a team. That's what that loss tells you. And at the end of the day, it's time to get re-locked in. You got one more game to your bye week. And we got to focus on destroying Las Vegas when they come into town. We got to make them regret coming in the Ford Field. We got to show how mad we are. We got to take all our emotions out on them. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what you do. That's why I say you have to destroy Las Vegas because, you got to make a statement. Like, no, we ain't no fraudulent team like y'all think we are. We just had a bad game, a well-justified bad game. And that's what the Lions have to send that message to. You know what I'm saying? They can go into this bye week 6-2. And that is no big problem. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, any final word on the previous game before we switch over to what we want to see with the Las Vegas and going into week 8?
No, man, I'm ready to switch over right now, man.
Fellas?
I'm ready to switch over.
Okay. Well, all right. So as y'all know, we got to be hosting Monday Night Football, another national televised game. With the Las Vegas Raiders. I believe it's been stated that Jimmy Garoppolo is likely to start as QB1. I can give a damn less because he's going to get his ass whooped. Las Vegas that's a fraudulent team because that team actually has a lot of talent. With the defensive linemen, some of the DBs, and then obviously they got Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, and having quarterback like Jimmy G or whatever. They got a lot of talent, and they're not playing up to it. You know what I'm saying? When you get something out by the Bears on the road, that tells you everything I know. at the end of the day, and not to mention it was a bad quarterback that none of us ever heard of. So, yeah, that's a bad team. Now, can the Lions get caught, looking down the line or not taking them serious enough? Yeah, but I expect us to destroy them. I had this as a win since the beginning of the offseason. So, what's your opinion, man? What do you want to see from this game moving forward, man, with the Raiders? Starting with you, Bill.
First of all, I can't believe you said they a talented team. They ain't no damn talented team. What the hell is wrong with you? It's Devontae Adams and goddamn Josh
they got pieces on that team.
And Max Crosby. They ain't no damn talented team. The Raiders,
don't forget Crosby.
I just said Crosby, and I said they only got 3 key players, man. Don't come in here and talk about they got this damn talent. What the hell's wrong with you? But anyway, listen, Lions should go out there and take care of business, man. Get the job done, man. There's no secret to it, man. We getting guys this come back. Brian Branch, he's more like he's gonna be back. We just missed the key guys. Now it's still as of today, David Montgomery did not practice. We don't know what's the status going to be for Monday night game. Is he going to play or not? We definitely going to be keeping an eye on look on that. Like I said, this game right here, the Lions should, like I said, come out, take care of business, from a national stage that everybody in the whole world's watching. And Lions should come out and, take care of business. I mean, I understand you talking about you should win. They should score 40 points on them. Like I said, man, I don't care if they scored 50 points. I don't care if they score 30 points. The Lions come out and dominate both sides of the ball, offensively, defensively. It should be no problem. Got the crowd behind us. Let's take care of business. The Raiders is not a good team. They're really not. I mean, come on, man. You lose to the Bears, a quarterback that's come from a Division II school. Stop it. This Raiders team is terrible. Devontae Adams, he wants to leave. They ain't gonna trade him. Josh Jacobs, they ain't want to pay him. The Raiders are a disaster. We should go ahead and take care of business. Plain and simple. I'm done talking about the preview. Go ahead, Bree.
Well, I think with it being a national televised game, they got to just stay focused. They can't let the bright lights get to them. This is their first, I think, Monday night game in 5 years. So the crowd's going to be there. This is a depleted Raiders team who's like, we don't even know if Jimmy G is going to play, not play. We don't know. They just so out of wax that you got to beat a team while they're down. You have to beat this team. You have to, Jahmyr Gibbs, everybody just got to step up. The defense, they got to step up. This is a bounce back game. Like the Ravens game, this is just pretty much the type of game to where you take out your anger out of. Like, that was an embarrassing game with the Ravens. You take your anger out on the Raiders. You have to. You just got to play better. And fans got to understand. Listen, man, they still only have 2 losses. They got to calm down. They got to calm down. This team is going to be all right. So I just think this Lions, I think they're going to blow out the Raiders. I think they're going to show up and show out. I think Goff is going to bounce back and have a good game. St. Brown going to be St. Brown. And I think this defense is going to get better. People got to understand, they didn't have Jerry Jacobs. So, what I'm saying? It was tough on it. So, I think they're going to beat them and beat them handily. And that's what I got to say about that, man. Go Lions. One pride. Boot up.
Yes, sir. Nomis.
And like I said, I'm not about to get no science about how we. Shut up, Daryl.
No, that was Bree, jackass.
Oh, I'm sorry. Shut up, Bree. Anyway.
Yeah.
I ain't about to get into no science
Thomas
about
J
this
gotta
game,
go
man. We know
back
what we
up.
gotta do. But we gotta go out there. Just go out there and enforce your will up on this team. It's simple as plain. And you got play with some anger. You get when you down and everybody kicks you while you was down. The best way to respond is the next person to try you is to beat their ass, and that's just how you do. You don't get you let yourself dwell and feel sorry for yourself. You go in there, you come together, and you go and beat somebody's ass. That's what you do. The next person to try you, you get back to the gym and you go out there and work out. And you remember your job and you leave. And that's how the Lions gotta be. You know what I'm saying? We know what the Raiders go try to do. We know they go turnovers. We know if you play sloppy, you'll make them look better than they actually are, which is bad. And of course, that means you're pretty much Green Bay Packers. So you don't want to be like that. So just go in there, man, play physical like you've been doing. Treat this the same way you did Tampa Bay, the same way you did Atlanta, the same way you did Carolina. You have to go in there and attack. You know what I'm saying? Let them know why you ain't going to come to Ford Field and do all this cute stuff. We not for that. We upset. We mad. We just had a smudge on our season that we don't like and a bad taste in our mouth. So we got to take it out on somebody. And that's all it is. The Raiders are just a footnote. It's up to the Lions if they want to destroy it. This is literally the Lions game to lose. It's not, it could come down anyway. No, this is literally the Lions game to lose. And that's just where I'm at. With that being said, y'all, I think we all pretty much got our final thoughts in for this preview. We know what we got to do. Let's go switch to the main event of this show because we got some stuff to talk about.
We got to talk about it.
Again, as we switching over, I ask y'all again, man, get them like up, share the stream, subscribe to our YouTube channel, man. Tell a friend, because baby, Detroit basketball is officially back. And I know we started off the season with a loss, but this is the one time I could say a loss felt like a win. You know what? Breed, I'm going to let you go ahead and start this one first, man. What was your viewpoint of yesterday's game one on the road against the Eastern Conference champions, the Miami Heat? What was your take from that game, brother?
Hold on right quick, Breed, before that. Nomus, where is the damn cheeses in Modelo? Are you getting it ready? Because you
man, listen, I got a Modelo, but I forgot to put it in the fridge, and so it's hot, and I'm not about to drink that, and I just haven't had a chance to buy the cheeses.
Okay. Why are you not showing the? Get your face on the camera, man.
I know. I was taking care of something. Thank you very much.
Okay, go ahead, Bree.
Man, I tell you, started off slow. Turnovers and everything, but the way it ended, I'm still proud of this team, man. Listen, we got a rising star in Cade Cunningham. That boy Cade is a bad boy. He bad. And for them to come out and come back from 19 down with 8 minutes to let go, and to have a lead, but unfortunately, Miami, closed it out. I think I don't think any team scored the last a minute 30. But Cade is that dude. We got a good man. I think we got a good squad. And their defense got better, man. This game, you can see the leaps and bounds in their defense. This is a defense. They played better this game than they did all preseason. So for you to hold a team and then you almost beat the Eastern Conference champions, even without 3 players who were injured, and still to almost do this, man, it's incredible. You know what I'm saying? And I love the lineups. Love Killian starting at point guard. I think having Ivy on the bench, I think is going to be good for him. I think this lineup, just as the season progresses, I think is going to be good. This team, it's a good young team, and I got a lot of promise with this team, man. They just got to stay healthy. They just got to stay healthy. They bench is nice. I mean, this bench could and a lot of other teams, they bench could start in a lot of other teams. So we got the luxury to have a deep squad, and this Miami game is just going to be, you know, a stepping stone of what's in store for the rest of the season and what's in the future. And Asar, up and coming, man, Killian. You can see the more confidence in Killian starting. You don't see him with his head down. He's actually has confidence. So I just love it, man. I love it, and I'm looking forward to seeing this team, man. It's gonna be an exciting season, you know. But we just gonna see how it is. The big key is just them staying healthy. That's the big thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm gonna go ahead and go next.
Daryl, I need you to go before me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead.
And I gotta say this real quick. Kane!
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm gonna go ahead right quick, man, before I get out of here. Yeah, this is, you know, I like the lineups that Monty Williams did. I'm not saying it's gonna be a guarantee. It's a guaranteed starting line. He's gonna run.
Daryl, just a second, Daryl. Y'all hold the show for a second. I'm gonna be that.
He's telling me hold for it. But anyway, but y'all see, look. So that's what I'm saying, man. The simple fact that the Pistons, you know, they came out, you know, they play very well. They had their moments of the game, and I want to get into, you know, I want to get into the team stats. Pistons shot 44%, shot better than Miami. You know, free throws is still an issue. I know they shot 60%. No, Miami got 26 free throw attempts to Pistons 15, but free throws. You got to start making free throws. You want to win. You want to win games. You got to make your free throws. They out, you know, as far as out rebounding Miami, 56-48 total rebounds. They did good with assists, 28 assists. You know, 13 blocks. I mean, I believe you had 9 blocks in the first half, I believe. 13 blocks, and you know, Asar Thompson started with 3 blocks in the first quarter. You know,
right.
The big thing, turnovers. 16 turnovers to 7 for Miami. Points in the paint. You know, Miami got 8 more points in the paint. The fouls, it was some ticky-tack fouls, but you know, we know what this is, Bree. We know what this is. But you know, this is not gonna get the respect of the calls from the refs like that. It's just what it is. But Miami had 18 personal fouls, so the biggest thing, like I said, is free throws and turnovers. That's the thing. You got to take care of the basketball, and they gonna learn. It's just you gotta clean those up. As far as, you know, I know it's the first game, so I'm not gonna overreact on that. It's first game for a lot of teams, for every team in the NBA. But you know, you gotta clean the free throws, gotta clean the turnovers. But Cade Cunningham, man, you know, at 18 points in the first half, finished off with 30 points for the whole game. He picked his spots. But he get his team involved, and then he hit some shots. He picked his spots, and he's gonna continue to get better and better and better each and every time. I think it was a stat that they put out yesterday on I'm talking about, you know, the GM voted for, you know, I'll give it the most improved, who's going to be most improved player. He was second. Cade Cunningham was second only to Anthony Edwards to be voted. And on top of that, too, with Cade Cunningham was also in the USA, you know what I'm saying, part of the scrimmage with in this over the summer. Eric Spoelstra, shout out to Eric Spoelstra, the great Eric Spoelstra, had high praises of Cade Cunningham, how his work ethics, how he facilitates, how great of a player he is. You know, when you get other teams and coaches and they say great things about Cade Cunningham, this would know what we got of him, man. We just, you know, now we see a difference of when he was on the floor from when he wasn't on the floor, you know, last season. So now, as long as you continue to stay healthy, you know, we know he's the leader of this team. So, and like I said, man, Pistons, their defense, they stepped up in the fourth quarter. Miami only scored 20 in the fourth quarter. We scored 27. We just couldn't able to close the deal. It was some shots that could have went in, especially the Alec Berg, the Cade Cunningham, a couple of shots. I mean, it just didn't go down, you know. And they had an opportunity to beat a team that just went to the NBA Finals, which you know you're going to get from a team like the Miami Heat, a Pat Riley team. You know what you're going to get from them. You're going to get a toughness. It's going to be a grinding out game with them. Mm-hmm. So absolutely, man. Like you said, just looking at these stats right quick. Isaiah Stewart with a double-double, 14 points, 14 rebounds. Jalen Duren, 14 rebounds, 17 points. As we know, he could have had a double-double if he would have had 10 assists, but he got 9 assists, 30 points. Killian was him and Sar Thompson. Their defense is unbelievable. You know, and it brought some more life to this game. You know, Alec Berg, you know, he didn't have he had 7 points. Jaden Ivey only had 4, but you know he's gonna get himself back in the rhythm. So Marvin Bagley, he shows why he deserved to be on the floor more than Wiseman, because he's out there playing defense. He's out there banging with those and the Bios, and Kevin Love's out there. Joe Harris, he didn't have a great game at all. He missed some shots, but that's not going to continue to be that case. So I believe Joe Harris will be fine. Sasser came off the bench. You know, he's had 10 minutes, but he scored 8 points in his debut. So you look at this Pistons team, man. Like you said, Monty Williams is doing a great job with this young team, and it's definitely a promising man. So we got Charlotte coming up tomorrow. Then we have home opener against the Chicago Bulls. So definitely looking forward to it for these next couple games. So we can go on, hopefully come out and get the win against Charlotte. Charlotte just won yesterday. Chicago got their butts whooped bad, but you know, it's definitely going to be exciting, man. But listen, fellas, Nomans, before I let you go, I got to get out of here. I got to get back to work. Make sure everybody hit that like and subscribe to D313XP, man. Hit that like and subscribe. Like myself, Nomus J, and Bree. Hit that like and subscribe, man. Go ahead, Bree.
Now, before you leave, I want to just go ahead and make this announcement while you're here. Because I haven't discussed this with both of y'all, so I thought this would be the perfect time to put this out. November the 8th and possibly November 15th, working on both of those dates. We're gonna have a Michigan legend in the sports field. You seen him on 97.1. You seen him on Woodward Sports. You seen him do coverage of the Pistons. Ladies and gentlemen, my brothers, we are going to have Mr. Terry Foster, on the show. November the 8th and the 15th. We are working on both of those dates. So T Foss will be on the D313XP.
Uncle T with
That's what I'm talking about.
And
That's
you
what I'm
said
talking
8th of
about.
November, so you said my dad's birthday. Okay, I gotta get him to watch the show that day. I
That's what
gotta
I'm
get him
talking
to
about.
watch the show that day.
So
That's what
definitely
I'm
working on
talking
both
about.
days. He said he'll do, either days or both days. He said he's definitely down to do, one of the days or both of the days, but I'm gunning for both. And so definitely the 8th and the 15th for sure. But next month we gonna have
I'm getting my beers ready for that.
Absolutely.
Terry Foster will be in the building.
Absolutely, man. That is so great news, man, to have Terry Foster in the
I'm
building
getting my
on the 8th
beers.
or the 15th. I'm definitely, man. We definitely excited for that, man. But all right, fellas, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go ahead and get back to work, man. Like I said, y'all
All right,
finish off
thanks
the
for
show,
joining in,
man.
bro.
All right, man. I'll catch y'all guys
Yes,
later,
sir.
man.
All right now. All right.
All right, brother.
All right now.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for joining in. DC1 Daryl, everybody. DC1
Yes,
Daryl,
sir.
alternative Daryl, yes. So now that everybody got that, man, oh my God, I'm pumped up hearing that. I've been dazed all day, and that just woke me the hell up. I just told you I wanted that man on here. Oh
Yeah.
my God. So I want to start off saying some very controversial things right now when it came to yesterday's game. And I want everybody to stay with me. I would like to personally and publicly announce that I want to say thank you to the National Basketball Association. Thank you to the NBA. Thank you for giving us our first 3 games with 2 of them starting on the road. Thank you for giving us the Eastern Conference champions as our first game of the year on the road. I want to say thank the Pistons for missing players due to injury. I want to thank the Pistons for not having no top tier free agents on this team. I want to thank the Pistons for having a load of kids on this roster. I want to thank so many different reasons. I want to thank the NBA right now for screwing us over year in year after out with the schedule. Because I knew it would go pay off one day. I want to say thank you to Pistons fans for giving up on Cade Cunningham. I want to say thank you to Pistons fans for slack talking Jaden Ivey and disrespecting the constant disrespect of Killian Hayes. I want to say thank you for dissing Isaiah Stewart. I want to say thank you to all the crap that we usually deal with because it has prepped me to really dive deep into this team. That was hands down to me the best game 1 that this team could have started off with from the very first tip of the ball to the very last shot of the game. That game was exciting to me, considering that was game 1. Your number 1 pick in the draft dropped a casual 30 ball that almost felt unnoticed. His first game back after missing 50, 60-some games. Yeah, you can say the Team USA and the preseason. No, I'm talking the regular season basketball. He has not played, 60 games? He only played 60 games last year. In his first game, he comes back against the Eastern Conference champions. He drops 30 and almost could have won us a game with the last second shot. The guy that you motherfuckers kept calling a bust. You sorry, stupid, dumbass fans wanted to kill this boy. Already his first game back against the Eastern Conference champions. You know that team that was AC that went all the way, beat Boston and went and got to the finals and went 4 or 5 games with the champs? Yeah, that team. Shut your stupid ass up because you don't know shit about basketball, you dumb motherfuckers. Yeah, I'm taking it there. I'm taking it there today. I don't give a fuck. You stupid motherfuckers don't know shit about ball. Shut up.
And they held Miami in the last 8 to 9 minutes. They held them to 9 points.
Strip them motherfuckers. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Your rookie, the guy that I got killed for because of my reaction on draft night, 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes, has 3 blocks. In 5 minutes, the Pistons had total 5 blocks. the way we were blocking shots almost could have gave me flashbacks to 04. I ain't seen so many blocks in one damn game by the Pistons in a long time. From I think he had 6 by himself. Oh, and I know because it's gonna come up. People go bring up the fact that Sasser hit 2 threes and had 8 points in 10 minutes. I know that's gonna come up. And Killian went like 05, 06 from downtown. Let me tell you right now, Killian Hayes, in my personal opinion, and I'm not saying this because I defend him all the time. I'm not saying this because I just want him to be here. I'm just calling it down the middle. To me, he had a lot to do with us almost winning that game yesterday.
Absolutely.
Because his defense leading into some turnovers. This team, every team except for the Tigers, we're still figuring them out a little bit. We just know the Tigers can't score in sessions. When the Tigers are like Javier Baez. They when they hot, they hot. When they not, they not. But with the Red Wings, if you notice the Red Wings, they're a good power play team this year. Shout out to them. They've been playing really good. The Lions are really good at running the football and keeping and basically keeping the other team from scoring, bending but not breaking. Pretty much, that's what the Lions are good at, right? But they're really good at running the ball and scoring early in the first half. The Pistons are building a dynamic transition team that plays defense, and the best way to be a good team on transition, you need 2 elements. You need defense that can create turnovers, and you need guarding wing play that has not only ability to pass the ball, but you have to have court vision. Killian, Asur Thompson, Cade Cunningham, court vision. And then you even got Jalen Duran and Marvin Bagley as roles. You had the full set, and it's like a kid, right? You go up to a kid, you're a grown man at an event, and the kids want your attention. They take your phone out your pocket or something like that and make you text them. That's what the Pistons are going to be making teams do. You're going to have to work a lot harder to beat us now. Because we play defense, because we like to attack the rim, I can finally say, outside the few shots that Killian shot, maybe the couple times Cade was chucking up some shots and all that, we weren't shot chucking the whole night. You know what I'm saying? We were not sitting there chucking. You saw ball movement. You saw involvement with the entire roster. Everybody got stuff. Killian was the steals and manning people down on defense. And even despite missing threes, first the notion was he too scared to shoot the 3. Then when he started shooting the 3, he do chuck up shots and he missed it. Then he feel sorry for himself. He was hitting turnaround fadeaways in the middle of the paint the whole game. Mid-range jumpers. A lot of other players on this team struggle hitting mid-range shots yesterday. He was actually efficient at it and drew a foul in the early game. Mm-hmm. And again, he was helped setting up plays defensively. He helped you almost win that game. Yes, Cade Cunningham made some crazy plays, 18 in the first half of the game. Yes, he did. But when it got near that fourth quarter, he turned the heat on, and Killian helped him. And Asur Thompson helped him. This is a veteran roster you're going against. This is Jimmy Buckets. This is Tyler Hero. This is Duncan Robinson and all these other guys. Martin, what's his name? His name?
Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, I know Kyle Lowry, but there was another one. Martin, son off the bench there. I'll try to remember all their names. And then
Caleb Martin.
Caleb Martin, yeah, thank you. That's what I was going to say. And, even with the bids they got, they got Bam, and then they got Thomas Bryant. Thomas Bryant shows you why you have to have somebody play strong down that lane. Bagley tried to fight, but Bagley just couldn't quite get him. That's why I still think we need a veteran big, because the lineup that had Sasser and, Ivy, and I think Joe Harris was out there, and somebody else, and then you had Bagley. It just wasn't strong enough lineup to keep out there against a guy like Thomas Bryant and then the veterans that you had around him. So I do still feel like they need a legitimate veteran 5 that can rim protect and defend. You get that, you'll be able to play any lineup you want.
Yeah, and I think too, to add to what you just said, man, I think having the injury to Bogdanovich, I think it's going to help this team because now you get to see the depth in this team.
Why do you think I started off saying thank you? Why do you think I started off saying thank you?
But then, and fans got to understand, they didn't have Boyan, they didn't have Isaiah Livers. You know what I'm saying? And, you know what I'm saying? So, and Monte Morris. So, and then to not have them and still lose to Miami and almost beat them by 1. Yeah. That's, that's pretty good. But I think with Bogdanovich, I think with him getting injured, I think it's going to be a good thing for this team. Not wishing bad for any injuries and things like that. Right. I'm not saying that. But I'm thinking now you get to see the depth in this young team. You know what I'm saying? Because I know even when people talk about, most improved, it could be Cade. People can't forget about Duran too. Duran could be a most improved player. Because he has that ability that he can score 20 and 20.
Yeah, he can score 20 and get
Go ahead.
He had like 14 and 10 or something like that. But I ain't gonna lie, and I don't kill him for it, but I felt he was 50-50 yesterday. Like the point spread and stuff like that looked good, but I felt there was times that he should have been in certain positions at the paint, and I felt times that they were double teaming players that they didn't have to, and I felt he should have moved over and dropped that maybe and cover the lane and stuff like that. And switch over better. I felt he could have did better than that. But that's why I went on. I think it was King. I went to one of his comment sessions on one of his X tweets, and I said, "Is it me or is Duran kind of 50-50 out there?" He never responded, but I just felt he was 50-50. The bias doesn't say he was perfect, but I felt there was some things he could have did better. But that's game 1. You know what I'm saying? Where Buccaneers going against, again, a veteran roster, right?
Yeah, so it was with a young team. I mean, the young team, they learn, and then they learning a new coaching system with Monty Williams. So they learning as they go.
And that's the trip part about all of this, bro. This head coach of ours barely even know where his office at or his parking spot at in the damn practice facility. And they already are responding to his system positively like this, bro. He barely know where his parking spot at. And it's like, when you look at the way that he was coaching the team, one thing I didn't like, it was the timeout usage in the second half. I understood why he took the timeouts. This is me, I'm a little petty. I like to have timeouts, like at least 2 of them, when it's like 3 minutes or less left in the game. That way we can try to minimize the clock the way we need to. But I understood the times he did call timeouts, the Pistons were like giving up a lot of momentum, and we were like, we needed an adjustment. So I can understand him using the timeouts in that situation versus trying to let them play out. Because if he didn't pull them out, they probably would have had us down by 30. You know what I'm saying? Because we had a lineup that was out there, and I think it was that same one I mentioned. It was just a lot of turnovers. That was one of the biggest problems yesterday. We had like 15 in the first half. They all quitted to the other team getting points. And it slowed down a little bit in the second half, but I felt like there was times when a certain lineup was out there, when we did turn over the ball, we were either not putting up good shots and we were turning the ball over, but not as much. And I feel like us losing the rebound battle at times too was hurting us. But the biggest issue I had was their officiating. They were hot garbage since the very beginning of the game. Like, again, I know it was game 1, but there was times neither team should have been called for a foul, and there was times that he should have been called for fouls a little bit more than we had, and they were just calling every little tick-tack thing. And I'm like, I'm sick of that. Like, that game could have been even better had they not got involved so much. Like,
right. It happens in the NBA, with these referees and stuff. They make calls, then they don't make any calls. You'd be like, that's an obvious foul right there. You should have called that. But they're looking at things differently. But it's I look at it. It's just a learning experience for this young Piston team, man. They still learn. Like I said, they still learning. It's the first game. No, they got all season, man. It's like Monty Williams is a good coach. He has a good coaching staff. So I think these guys are gonna, and they want Monty to coach this team. That's the thing. They already embracing him, and they want to learn from his system. So it's like, a lot of young guys, they like, I don't want to learn this or anything like that. Like, they literally want to learn from Monty because they see what he did in Phoenix, and they said, man, if he can turn that to an NBA Finals team, then he can do that with us. And that's the mentality this young team has. And I think they got a lot of talent to do that. You got a lot of young teams like a OKC, like a Minnesota, like a Memphis, like a lot of these teams that were good in drafting. They're good in drafting. And you can see the Pistons is trying to do that because they drafted a lot of young guys and they're just going through this system. I mean, they went through the thing with Casey. Now they're going through with Monty. But I think in due time, I think this team can they will learn from Monty's season and just his coaching. And we just got to see how the year plays out, man. Even if they don't go to the playoffs, this is just a learning year. So, a lot of people ain't really expecting any big expectations for them. So, even the league is not. They already picking the Pistons to be the worst team in the NBA again. So, but you can't. But the big thing is you have to play these games. You can't just go out there and lose and tank and expect to get the first pick. This draft is a prime example. You can't do that. You can't have the worst record and think you're going to get the first pick in the draft. It doesn't work like that now. You just got to play hard. If you lose, you lose. If you win, you win. But all that tanking and the stuff like that, that's just not going to work. And that's what
they don't.
No. They just gotta play every game. You know what I'm saying? If you lose, hey, just let it be. If you're gonna lose, just play hard and lose. Don't just be like, I'm just gonna tank. I'm not even gonna play. They can just beat us. Don't have that mentality. Just keep doing what you're doing. Play hard. Go at it one game at a time. You know what I'm saying?
If I had to guess, though, I think that hire for Monty Williams proves that they're not trying to tank no more because you're not getting him to say, "Oh, we're gonna lose a couple more years." I don't think that's what that was. And otherwise, they would have asked Casey to stay another year, right? So I got 3 notes too. I want to say from yesterday's game. I hope I can remember them. But I do think Thompson, as good as he played on defense, he has you can see what he needs to work. It's clear as day. I'm not even about to get into the specifics of it. You can see clear as day what his flaws are. And that's fair. That's fine. But like I said, he played well on defense, man. He was a monster. The other note that I wanted to note of is that this team defensively played more consistent defense in this game than they have the entire last 3 years. In one game, their defensively was better than. I would take this defense more than the last 3 years that Casey had on with the team. Like, that's how much better they were. And you know what else too? They moved the basketball fluidly a lot better in this game than they had the last 3 years. And again, I know the turnovers were a thing, but that's another thing. Like, how the hell did you keep this game that close with the amount of turnovers that you gave up with that young roster? Ain't no way in hell. In hell, last year, they had did this under Casey. We would have lost that game by 20. Ain't no way in hell we should have found a way to have been that close. That's how you know the defense is improved. And then we gave up points on those turnovers. That's the trip about it. So it makes you wonder, had the turnovers not happened, which technically were supposed to happen. When you think about it, this team is still finding the chemistry compared to that veteran roster. So you would think that this team technically should be understandable why they turn the ball. right? And they still fought for that. And you can say, well, that's what most losing teams do. They fight, they play up. No, that's not what I saw. That I can tell by the way they played, just based off Killian's confidence, newfound confidence. A game like that, under Casey, he probably would only have 4 points. He had a team with defensive stats and assists.
Right.
This team is playing how Aaron Glenn said with the Lions. They expect to win.
And they want to play. They want to play. They want to play defense. They want to get better on offense. They want to change things there. Monty has this. He has this Pistons team, and you can put Troy Weaver in this too. They are trying to make the Pistons into a family-oriented type of team, coming together and things like that. They want them to be like, hey, man, this is, they willing to fight for each other. They willing to work as hard as they can for this coach. You know what I'm saying? So they want to play for him. You got a up-and-coming star in Cade Cunningham that got strong, and his game has gotten better, and you can see the progression of Cade, and he wants to be that guy. Yeah, and the thing is, he wants to be in Detroit. He wants to be here. There's a lot of guys in the NBA. They go to a team and they don't want to be there. They're there for the money. You could be there for the money, but you got to be there for that team in that city. And the city sees that in Cade Cunningham. That's why they like Cade so much, because he's representing the city. When he on draft day, he wearing the Cardis and all that, man. He like, hey, I'm coming to Detroit. It's cool. And he embracing Detroit like it's home. And that's what a lot of these Pistons, they're embracing this like it's their home. And they want to build into a championship team. And I like the way things is going. It's right. The future is bright with this team.
Right. I want to call some other notes out too. Like Isaiah Stewart played really hard yesterday too, losing that. He even showcased a couple threes he knocked down that I thought were really beautiful. And not even that, it was really the fact that him just finding his spots and just putting the points that he put up on the board, and the effort on defense that he played. But another thing too, Jaden Ivey coming off the bench. This is why I can say I can get behind Monty Williams. All right, we stew. That's what I'm talking about. This is why I like Monty Williams already so far. So Jaden Ivey had. First of all, let's talk about how fast Jaden Ivey is as a player, because the dude is so fast. I swear, I thought he went from almost half court and just teleported at the rim. Like, he made some kind of weird cut. You can almost put like a blue line after Ivey, and you can almost put like a line of how he ran from the starting point where he ran. And he got to the rim, right? He got to the rim. But it was like bad attempt for a dunk or a layup. And I think something happened where the clock stopped, where the team called timeout or foul was called. And Monty was talking to him on the sideline, and he put Killian back in the game. I think he saw something he didn't like. I think he saw him, maybe he must have felt that he was too wild on that play. Maybe he felt he needed to bring him back and teach him, show him something. I think it was something either Ivy did wrong, or maybe he did. So I forget exactly what it was, but all I know is I'm seeing him walk up to people, and I'm seeing him having conversations. He's talking to his players and letting them know stuff as he's putting Killian. And you could tell he was working with him on the sideline. And I'm like, dang. So him being vocal like that is a big deal, because him quoting Greg Popovich, who he played under. Saying that the rules don't stop for talent, or whatever that was, what it was. Or I'm trying to quote exactly how he said it. And I think that's what we showed too. Like I feel like they just wherever that was thrown at us, wherever the situation was, we had a response to it. And I love how calm he was as a coach too with this young team. You could see the calmness of the team. This team always felt they had a chance, and when things felt like it was unraveling, like I say, call timeouts. He took advantages of the game clock stopping or the fouls being called to make substitutions. You know what I'm saying? He swapped in when Jalen Durant got into foul trouble in the first quarter with the 2 fouls. He kept him in there, and he waited till opportunity to a timeout or something where they went to a commercial break. Then you seen Bagley out there on the court. You didn't see him throw a timeout like Dwayne Casey would do and say, "Oh man, you got 2 fouls. Let me get you out of there." You know what I'm saying? You remember all the times we've seen Kelly and Cade start together even before Jaden Ivey was on the team, and Dwayne Casey would just call a timeout at the 3 minutes of the first quarter start. It's all the first 3 minutes you already calling the timeout to switch through a substitution over absolutely nothing. And it's like you didn't see that with him. He was very subtle with his substitutions. He didn't stop just to make one simple do. Every foul and free throw line opportunity, he made a sub. He felt he had to. He made a sub. He was very decisive with how he did with the lineups yesterday. Not saying every lineup was perfect, but just how he incorporated his substitutions, get guys in there. You saw everybody that was available, with the exception of guys like James Wiseman, of course. You saw Joe Harris come there and do absolutely nothing, of course. And maybe he'll have a better game this game. But, you saw Sasser, you saw Thompson, you saw all the players you would have hoped to have seen, except for the guys who were hurt, and of course, James Wiseman. So those swap-ins with Bagley, that's why I say you got to get a veteran bid. Because if you get a veteran bid with this team, and the way they are acclimated and getting the pick and roll going now, and letting the guards, will and deal, if you get a defensive force that come off the bench and protect the rim, and as a veteran in this locker room, you are going to be in good shape. Because first of all, they need a veteran in the locker room, another vet that can settle the court. 2, it's just going to make things better for them defensively. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait when you combine that with the coaching we already seen from Monty. Yeah, I think it's safe to say. I think it's safe to say that $70-something million worth spent.
Oh yeah, and it's good to have. Also, it's good to have a coach that has played the game, so he knows all the ins and outs and know, hey, this is what we need to do. We need to do this. He could teach all these young guys, like, hey man, you don't do this when you're a young player. Go ahead.
And not only did he play the game, he learned. Like I said, I just quoted something I was trying to quote something he said he got from Greg Popovich, who he played under. You played with the San Antonio Spurs, my guy. All y'all knew how to do over there was develop.
That's true. That's absolutely true. He can learn. He learned from that Greg Popovich coaching tree. Yeah.
And the best part about it, this is why I think too that Killian still has a chance to be on this team. You played with Chris Paul before. You played with other point guards, legitimate point guards before, man. You understand the connection of a point guard has with his big. Why do you think so many passes got sent to Stoop to put points up when he was down low at the rim? Why do you think that Jalen Durant got the opportunities he got? Because he understood the guard's best man is their big. This is somebody who not only understands the game because he's a former player, he understands the game because how the game works too. At being a position, I think Monty was a big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was.
And played with a guy like this. So just his past experience of who he knew, that shows.
Mm-hmm. And not only do I think with guys like Killian and Sasser and all and those guys, I think not only are they learning from Monty Williams, but they learning from Jared Jack, who is a tough-minded point guard, and that's an assistant. So And he's known for being that tough-minded, hard-nosed player. And he can teach that to Sasser and Killian. And Ivy as well. He can give him that killer instinct, like, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that. And that's I think with those two guys in particular, you know what I'm saying? Then, with Mark Bryant there as assistant coach too, that's another guy who played. So you got 3 former players that are coaches on this team.
Not to mention the son of Doc Rivers.
Yes, and even the son of Nate McMillan. You know what I'm saying? Jamel McMillan, the coach there, and then he's the head coach of the Motor City Cruise. So shout out to the Motor City Cruise. But that helps. That helps having that pedigree and everything. So to have this young team it's got to be a blessing to have all these guys as coaches. You know what I'm saying? To have that, families and people who've played the game and they giving them knowledge for these young guys, and they just soaking it up like a sponge, man. So that's the best thing as a young player. To being a young player, this is a dream being in situations like that when you have young talent, young athletic guys, and a deep squad like this that wants to play and plays hard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's a great thing. That's a great thing.
Everybody got to touch the ball.
For this team.
That's starting.
And the fans want to see it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead, no.
Yeah, Killian did not feel out of place on that starting lineup. Yeah, I got it. That was the beauty. I know that was a big controversial thing. Like, why is Killian starting? Listen, bro, Ivy has a role. Like when you look at the way that game went, the way our players are used, this is not a team that's trying to keep up with the Bucks and the Western Conference teams like the Sun. They're not a big 3 type team. This is a role-playing team. I don't care how much of a superstar you were in college.
Mm-hmm.
If you get drafted by the Pistons, ideally you're going to be put into a role. You're not here to be the solo superstar that you were in college. You were here to do a role. If we wanted a solo star, we would took Jalen Green ass in that draft. We took Cade because we needed a player that we knew could come in, help us play in big moments, but also be willing to take a step back if it means other people do stuff. You see the same thing with KD, right? Same type of scenario. He's willing to take a step back and let other players ball out, and he'll do a role. That's how you win in this league. You can get all the star players you want, but if you don't have a role for them, it's meaningless. Why do you think the Rockets with James Harden and all these teams through all these years never can win that? Why do you think the big threes, when they had that false starting lineup with the Knicks that time, they had my guy Carmelo Anthony and all of that time they tried to promote like they were about to be a super team, and then they were a dud because there was no role, there was no system, nobody had a role. Why do you think the Lakers team through the years has struggled? Because nobody had a role. Westbrook played well with the Clippers last year in the playoffs because he had a role. It wasn't just to sit there and do his usual Westbrook things. It was to play a role. Everybody's supposed to play a role. I don't care how much of a superstar you are. When you look at Golden State as a standard, everybody has a role. Draymond Green screams that every single time. So Jaden Ivey, fans caught up in the highlight college reel and how athletic and fast he is. He has a role. He's not here he's here to be himself, but he's not here to be himself like as the sole ball carrier, the hero. No, you're here to do a role, bro. Your skills and techniques that you have, we need to use that in a specific way that helps the whole team, not just for you. And we not drafting you to be John Morant 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
We drafting you to help us build a unit that can contend for a championship one day. And the way you contend for a championship is when you get players for a role. Not just role players, but have your players play a role.
Mm-hmm.
And when everybody buys in, it makes it that much easier. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, you have to be willing to sacrifice to win. We don't play bit 3 or bit 2 basketball type. We don't build those type of rosters. No matter how great Isaiah Thomas was, he played a role.
He did.
He could have scored 40 points a game if he fucking wanted to. He chose not to. He chose to be a pass for a guy. He chose to set everybody else. He chose to let other people have that moment. He chose to let Vinny Johnson do all the scoring off the bench and stuff like that. He could have did that himself, but he chose not to. He wanted the ring.
Right. And it's just like the fans gotta just let this team they just gotta see him play. Let the experience, let Monty just coach this team. And let's just see where it goes. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's a good thing, you know, with Bojan hurt, this is a way to see how your young guys play. You know, how what do you have within Bagley and Wiseman? You know, what do you have within is Joe Harris a scorer? Can he hit the threes? Is he the big difference in our shooting? You know, is Cade gonna stay healthy? You know what I'm saying? How is Ivy going to take being on the bench? Is it gonna hurt him? Is his confidence gonna go? You know, how is Asur gonna be? You know, how is, Isaiah Stewart from him being injured? Like, majority of this team last year was hurt. So they still have to gel together because majority of the year they've been hurt. You know, I don't think anybody on the team played a full season. So it's just they still have to learn and have to just come together. They play Charlotte tomorrow, and then they play the Bulls on the home opener. We're gonna see how they're gonna be during those two games. And then with the home game, with the opening home game, man, it's gonna be crazy. The fans is gonna go nuts, man. So you got the Bulls there, who's a defensive type team, but the Hornets, you don't know what you're gonna get with the Hornets.
Yeah.
You know, and the mellow ball on something out of control. So
I feel like I'm confident that we can go in there and get a win and go into our home opener. No, I just expect us to, like, speaking of the Hornets. So I was going real quick. I expect we have to clean the turnovers up. Hornets can't score. That's one thing they can do. But we have to clean the turnovers up so it helps our defense out. If you do that and, you play decisive basketball and, everything we saw, the good out of this game is picked up on and doubled down on and you slow down the turnovers, I think the Pistons can win this, 110, maybe 98, 95. I think maybe 110, 105. Whatever the case, we'll be winning. I pick us to win this with that. I think it's a winnable game. So I'm quite sure you feel exactly the same way.
Yeah, I think the Hornets got a lot of athletic bigs. They got a lot of them, and then got to watch out for PJ Washington, man. That last game against Atlanta, he did his thing. Like I said, the size they got, Mark Williams, they got Nick Richards. You know what I'm saying? They got some guys, the JT Thor. You know what I'm saying? Then you got Mamelo, you got Scary Terry Rozier, and then you got Gordon Hayward. You know what I'm saying? And then they can push they can score. They can score no matter, you got to figure out what LaMelo Ball you're gonna have. Is he gonna get the score and pass on LaMelo, or is you gonna get the out of control LaMelo? So gotta limit it to him, and you gotta just don't you gotta get physical, and you can't give up offensive rebounds, and you have to cut down those turnovers. You can't give a team like Charlotte fast breaks. You gotta stop the fast break transition.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah,
especially with this. But yeah, go ahead, no.
Oh no, I'll tell you, you definitely right on the money on that. We might have to play Wiseman in there in conjunctions too with the size thing. Like you may have to have him and Bagley out there together or in the slew because we gonna need the extra length just because of length reasons, and you definitely gonna have to play defensive with them. So I mean I expect a lot of Sir Thompson out there, a lot of killing to be played too in this game. So hopefully they can stay healthy. That being said, man, you want to get your final thoughts and close this thing out?
Yeah. First, I want to just say, I want to give just a special shout out to Chris Howell for coming on, man. I mean, hey, gotta definitely have him on. I'm so happy that he got on, man. Much respect. You know, the Lions, man, you know, gonna beat these Raiders. And then also, man, I want to give a special prayer to Marvin Jones. With family, of course, the passing of his son. Give us a special prayer for that, man. I know the Lions had to do what they had to do. I had to represent to wear the Marvin Jones jersey just because I had the respect for him. So shout out to Marvin Jones and his family. And just another tragedy, man. And you hate to see that. You hate to see that. So special prayer for Marvin Jones.
Yeah, prayers to the family.
Go ahead, no.
Prayers to him. I thought that son that you just mentioned, I thought that was the one that passed a couple years ago.
No, I think he had another son that just passed. If I'm not mistaken.
Milo was the name of the one that passed, the newborn baby that passed a couple years ago. I thought,
yeah.
If it was another child, then okay, prayers too. But I think you heard something about the prayers too, regardless to their family, man. But go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just special shout out to Marvin Jones and his wife and his family and everything. Good brother. You hate to see another tragedy in his family, so big ups to him. Like I said, the Lions get to beat the Raiders. Pistons, hopefully, they can represent and win these two games over the weekend. And next week, because they got a hard schedule next week. With Portland and with a few other teams, Phoenix, Golden State. So hopefully they can get through that. And just a shout out to everybody who just was on the comments and showing the support and everything, man. We can't thank y'all enough, man. I just want to say thank y'all so much for showing love and everything. And just, hey, man, keep being a Detroit fan. Detroit versus everybody. And hey, let's get it, man. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. Again, I want to say prayers, man, to Margaret Jones, to his entire family, man. Prayers to you. And, thank you for at least trying to come back and help us out, man. We know you trying to balance your life, man. You had to do what you had to do. So just prayers to him and thank him, man. Marvin Jones is a good guy, no matter what. So I really want to say shout out to the Pistons, man, for a really brilliant game. Yeah, we came up short, but you know what? There was good to be come from that game. And, we can't wait to see what's going to happen with the team moving forward. Fortunately, I'm going to be at work tomorrow, so I'm going to have to sneak and try to watch the game the way I can. And then, as far as the Lions, like I said, the only thing that needs to be on y'all mind Monday is trouble. Y'all got to have trouble on y'all mind, man. Like, trouble on my mind. Y'all got to make an example out of the Raiders, for real. Like, I don't care if the Raiders are the best team in the league. You got to make an example out of it. Because, you have to show that y'all are still that team that's on that trajectory. that y'all claim to be on, right? So you gotta take them down and give an opportunity. Want to say shout out to Mr. Chris Howard, man, for joining us. Can't wait to get him back on another show. Definitely big shout out to him. And if you haven't checked out his podcast show, it's called Plugged In with Chris Howard. So make sure y'all plug in with it. And man, I want to say also shout out to DC1. I know he had to work today, but he still came through, and all the guys, Ray, Track Podcast, and Big Willie of BSN Network, and all y'all, man, on 16, you already know what it is. Thank y'all for coming through for this late Thursday edition. We will be going back to our Wednesday schedule. This has just been a couple weeks of a situation. Most of us down with ill last week, and this week, we had game 1 yesterday, so we wanted to do the show today because we wanted to take time to watch the game. So that's just what that was about. So we will be going back to our weekly Wednesday scheduled show. Anytime we do have a day we do it differently, we'll do our best to let y'all know. So make sure y'all follow us on social media, D313XP. There should be a link tree link in the description of the stream and any of my previous videos. So if y'all want to stay tagged on our links and channels and stuff are there. I will probably update it and add more to it once I get settled, because like I said, we're trying to grow this thing. So if you can, also if you can as well, hit that like button, man, subscribe to our channel, and share this stream and our content with all your friends and family, some of their friends, and let them know that we can be friends, and just come through and show us love, man. We're trying to get into this rhythm, man. Remember, we got Terry Foster coming soon, so you might want to get ready for that. It's about to be a big November, so stay.
Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend, and tell that fool once again. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And also, I want to just say this too. Shout out to Rolling with FD, man. I was on his podcast Monday, man. So definitely shout out to Rolling with FD. I'm gonna try to definitely get him on the show, possibly Wednesday. Possibly Wednesday, he could come on this Wednesday. So definitely a special shout out to him for putting me on the show, and I had to shout out to the channel as well, man. So I had a lot of fun. So shout out to him. Shout out to Maniac Tim. Shout out to the DSN. Just shout out to everybody who does Detroit content, Detroit sports content. Shout out to everybody. It's all love.
And I also want to shout out my guy Retro Recap too. Again, we went against his Ravens, so his team gotta get a chance to get a good style win on us. So shout out to him and his podcast. He showed Lions still some love regardless of that. So shout out to him as well. Like you said, Maniac Tim, Rocked On Detroit podcast as well. Shout out to those guys. I see what they're doing, and Avery Giovanni and Luigi and all those guys. So shout out to everybody.
Yep.
And man, Beaston, Dante and Raymore.
Shout out to Kurt,
man, y'all. Oh, Kurt Steele, yes, definitely Kurt Steele. And shout, we got some things coming, man. We're working on some things big for y'all. So with that being said, this is Bree, Daryl at work. I'm Miss J. With that being said, we out here, coach.